Just imagine this. A brilliant MIT student is about to risk everything just to pay for college. At first, it sounds simple. A genius college student starts making money at casinos to cover his tuition. But this story is anything but simple. It begins with Ben Campbell, a math student at MIT. He's incredibly smart, and because of that, he earns the opportunity to attend Harvard University. The problem is, tuition costs $300,000, and Ben doesn't have that kind of money. One impossible question changes everything, and someone important is paying close attention. A few days later, Ben is sitting in class when Professor Mickey gives everyone an extremely difficult math problem. Not a single student can solve it. Then Ben steps in, works out the correct answer, and leaves the entire class stunned. The professor is impressed and congratulates him. Later, he notices Ben scored a 97 on the exam, confirming he's one of the brightest students at MIT. That night, a single invitation quietly sets Ben on a path that could change his life forever. That evening, while Ben is studying in the library, a student named Fisher walks over and tells him to come with him. Ben has no idea what's going on, but he decides to follow anyway. What Ben is about to discover has nothing to do with an ordinary college study group. Fisher leads him into a room where Professor Mickey is waiting with 3 students, Kiana, Choi, and Jill. They're some of the smartest students at MIT. Then Mickey reveals the truth. This is his blackjack team. They travel to casinos and use mathematical techniques to consistently beat the game. By tracking the remaining cards, they calculate the odds of what the dealer is most likely to draw next. The team regularly heads to Las Vegas, and everyone follows a strict set of rules. The offer sounds unbelievable, but Ben isn't convinced it's the right choice. Before finishing, Professor Mickey makes one thing clear. They aren't doing anything illegal. He tells Ben they know he's a genius, and that's exactly why they want him on the team. But Ben isn't comfortable with gambling, so he turns the offer down. Everyone tries to change his mind, but he refuses. As Ben leaves, the professor warns him not to tell anyone about the team. Then Jill makes one last attempt, and this time, she knows exactly what to say. The next day, while Ben is working at the store, Jill shows up pretending to shop. Afterward, she talks to him privately and encourages him to join the team. She explains that with their system, he could earn enough money to pay his Harvard tuition much sooner. For the first time, Ben starts wondering if this impossible plan might actually work. What Jill says definitely gets his attention. Besides, Ben has liked her for a long time. Even so, he doesn't give in. That evening, the blackjack team is practicing for their next trip. Mickey asks everyone a difficult question, but nobody knows the answer. Then Ben walks in, solves it instantly, and surprises everyone. After that, he announces he's decided to join the team. Everyone is thrilled and immediately begins teaching him how everything works. They train him to recognize card patterns, memorize signals, and master card counting techniques. Practice is over. Now it's time to find out if Ben can do it for real. After several days of training, Ben is finally ready for his test. The team heads to an underground gambling spot, and Ben sits down to play against several people. Before long, he starts winning a lot of money, and he's thrilled with the results. But just when everything seems to be going perfectly, everything suddenly changes. Without warning, a group of thugs covers Ben's face and drags him into another room. Terrified, Ben insists he hasn't done anything wrong. Then the cloth is pulled away from his face. Ben thinks he's been caught, but the truth is something he never sees coming. When the cloth comes off, Ben realizes the so-called thugs are actually his own teammates. It was all part of the test. They wanted to see how he'd react if he ever got caught. Satisfied with his response, they tell him he passed. Now the team is officially ready for Las Vegas. The next day they arrive, and Professor Mickey gives everyone new identities and tells them to stay in character. From that point on, they have to pretend they don't know each other. $100 is all Ben puts on the table, and everything starts changing from there. When the time comes, Ben walks into the casino and confidently places a $100 bet. Thanks to his training, he starts winning almost immediately. He keeps doubling his bets and continues building his winnings. Before long, the rest of the team finishes playing and heads back to their rooms. But Ben stays at the tables all night, stacking up more and more money. The following morning, Jill gives Ben his share and tells him everyone is impressed with how well he performed. Ben says he's only doing this to pay for college and plans to quit as soon as he has enough money. Jill just smiles and tells him everyone says that at first. Back on campus, Ben hides every dollar, believing nobody knows what he's really doing. When Ben returns to his dorm room, he hides all of his cash inside the ceiling fan. Moments later, Miles and Cam ask where he's been for the last 2 days. Ben lies and says he was visiting relatives. The money keeps growing, and so does the distance between Ben and the life he once had. Later that evening, Ben goes to a bar with his friends, where Jill is already there. His friends encourage him to go talk to her, so he walks over, and they spend a long time talking. Later, while they're riding the train back, Ben leans in to kiss her, but Jill pulls away. She tells him they work together, and she doesn't want a relationship to interfere with the team. Week after week, Las Vegas keeps rewarding them, but someone else is starting to notice. Over the next several weeks, the blackjack team returns to Las Vegas again and again, using their mathematical system to win huge amounts of money. Before long, casino management begins to suspect someone is beating the game. The head of casino security, Cole Williams, starts keeping a close eye on Ben. At the same time, Ben and Jill grow closer, and Ben begins making hundreds of thousands of dollars in a single day. Watching all of this, Fisher becomes increasingly jealous. One broken rule inside the casino is enough to put the entire team in danger. One night, Fisher sits down at Ben's table and deliberately starts talking to him as if they already know each other, breaking one of the team's most important rules. One careless move turns a perfect operation into complete chaos in seconds. Fisher suddenly spills a drink on another player, and within moments, a fight breaks out. Ben and the rest of the team barely manage to escape, while several other people are arrested by the police. After everything settles down, Professor Mickey throws Fisher off the team. Meanwhile, Ben and Jill spend time together at a nightclub, and the two grow even closer. The more money Ben makes, the more everything else starts slipping away. As time passes, Ben becomes completely focused on making money instead of studying. He grows distant from his friends, and doesn't help with their science project at all. Frustrated, his friends decide to remove him from the group. Ben is shocked at first, but then he fires back, saying he never really cared about the project anyway before walking away. Then one disastrous night in Las Vegas changes everything Ben thought he had under control. The next time the blackjack team returns to Las Vegas, Ben lets the pressure get to him. He stays at the table and loses $1 million. That night, Mickey tears into him, kicks him off the team, and demands that he repay the $1 million loss. Later, Ben approaches the other three players and suggests they leave Mickey behind and form a new team of their own. Ben believes it's finally time to build a team that answers to no one but themselves. Ben tells the others that Mickey never takes any real risks, yet he still keeps half of everything they win. Eventually, they agree with him and head to another casino on their own. Before long, they're winning a huge amount of money, but then Cole suddenly shows up and grabs Ben, while the rest of the team manages to escape. It turns out Mickey was the one who tipped Cole off about Ben. Cole drags him into a private security room, where he and his men brutally beat him. Cole says that casinos will soon start using facial recognition systems, and once that happens, Ben's entire operation will be finished. Then Cole reveals the one reason he's been hunting Mickey all this time, and it changes everything. Cole explains that he has a long history with Mickey. Years earlier, Mickey won $1 million in a single night, and because of that loss, Cole was fired from his job. After beating Ben again, Cole finally lets him go. The next day, Ben returns to college and discovers that Mickey has failed him. When he gets back to his dorm, he realizes every dollar he had hidden is gone. Ben immediately knows Mickey stole it, but there's nothing he can do about it. With nothing left to lose, Ben goes to the one person he still hopes won't walk away. Later, Ben goes to Jill's apartment and tells her he's lost everything: his friends, his money, and his dream of getting into Harvard. Ben knows he can't change the past, but he still tries to make things right. He apologizes to Jill and tells her he doesn't want to lose her too. In the end, Jill forgives him and encourages him to move forward. A few days later, Ben learns that Miles and Cam have won the science competition. He meets up with Miles, apologizes for the way he treated him, and tells him the entire truth about how he got involved in gambling in Las Vegas. Miles forgives him too, and even admits the whole Las Vegas story is pretty incredible. One final gamble is all Ben asks for, but this time, the stakes are even higher. A few days later, Ben meets with Professor Mickey and apologizes as well. He says he wants to rejoin the team so he can win back the money he lost before the facial recognition systems are installed. In return, he asks Mickey to pass him in exchange for the money. Blinded by greed, Mickey agrees, and the team heads back to Las Vegas one last time. Everything seems to be going perfectly, until Cole suddenly shows up again. This time, the team wins $40,000. But before they can leave, Cole and his men arrive to catch them. Ben's team grabs the money and runs. During the escape, Mickey takes the bag from Ben and says he'll keep it safe. Mickey thinks he's walking away with everything, but the biggest trap is waiting for him. Mickey jumps into a limousine and tells the driver to head for the airport. That's when the truth comes out. This was his plan all along. He intended to steal the team's money and disappear. Feeling victorious, he opens the bag, only for the smile to vanish from his face. Inside aren't stacks of cash. They're nothing but fake casino chips. Then Mickey realizes the driver is actually one of Cole's men. The truth behind Ben's deal with Cole finally comes into the open. It turns out that when Cole captured Ben earlier, Ben secretly promised he would bring Mickey straight to him. In exchange, Cole agreed to remove Ben and his teammates from the facial recognition database so the casinos wouldn't be able to identify them in the future. Later, Ben and Jill meet with Cole, and he thanks Ben for helping him capture Mickey. But even after winning, Cole still wants one more thing before letting them go. As Ben and Jill are about to leave, Cole stops them and demands a share of their winnings. Ben reminds him that was never part of their agreement. Cole simply pulls out a gun and says he's about to retire, and he needs the money. Ben realizes some deals aren't worth arguing over, especially when his life is on the line. Cole knows Ben is smart enough to make more money someday, so Ben hands over the cash without a fight and leaves with Jill. Meanwhile, Mickey is dragged into the same private room where Cole and his men have been waiting. Mickey immediately tries to buy his way out with money, but Cole cuts him off, saying he already has more than enough. Then he gives Mickey a brutal beating. While one chapter comes to an end, another one is only just beginning. Later, Ben and Jill meet Miles and Cam at another casino. That's when it's revealed that both of them are just as talented at math as Ben, and he invites them to join the team. Using their techniques, they win a fortune. A few days later, facial recognition admission systems are installed throughout the casinos, and Cole, along with his fellow security officers, lose their jobs. One final story leaves the Harvard admissions director completely speechless. In the end, Ben tells his entire story to the Harvard admissions director and asks if his abilities impressed him. The admissions director is left completely stunned. So, do you think Ben finally got into Harvard? Let me know what you think in the comments. Some people survive, but they never truly leave the nightmare behind. If stories like this stay with you, subscribe to Rafsat Cord, where every story leaves something behind. This one may be over, but its silence lingers long after the ending.